Hello, and welcome to the Dimp Digital Podcast. This is episode number 32, and this week we've mixed it up a little bit. Your usual voice of Joe MacLeod is not available, so I have taken control, and with me this week I've got Joshua Hall and James Piper. How you doing, chaps?
Yeah, all good, thanks, mate.
Yeah, really good, thank you.
Good. So, as we know, this has been the sort of major event this week of gaming, and I hope you've all both been sort of keeping up to date with what's been going on. I hope you've been excited about some of the announcements that have come out.
Yeah, I've been watching a fair bit of it, where I can anyway.
Yeah, I can't say I've been keeping fully up to date with it, but it's been hard not to keep up to date with some of the big releases.
Yeah. So looking at an agenda, it's more like a list of announcements. We could be here for a while, so I've said welcome to number 32, but it could also be welcome to 33. And I know you're both infused at the idea of sitting on this for a full 2 hours.
It's not going to happen, is it? But
30 minutes, job done. Dinner time.
Yeah, we need to be off here by 8 because, well, that's time stamped for you, but that's when my dinner's done.
Brilliant.
Right, well, we'll crack on then. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of go through in chronological order of the Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and go through the announcements. So we'll start off with Bethesda. This was on the 14th of June, the Sunday. And we got to, I think everyone was sort of a little bit excited about this because they'd chucked a few feelers out there already for Fallout 4. We'd already, a couple of weeks ago, spoke about the trailer. So I think we saw a little bit more of what's going on Fallout 4. We saw Doom, or what is essentially Doom 4. They announced Fallout Shelter coming to the iOS and Dishonored 2. So we'll make a start then. Fallout 4. What did you two make of it? Did you see anything of this? What announcements sort of took your eyes?
I didn't think they gave loads more away, did they? They did pretty much what everyone was expecting. They gave a release date which was an awful lot sooner than I think most people expected, because I think they've put it out it's before the end of the year, isn't it? It's November sometime, I think.
Yeah. That
they've put down as being the release date for it, which I think was a lot sooner than most were anticipating. But otherwise, they didn't give loads away. You know, it looks relatively similar to. It's pretty much what we were expecting. It's a next-gen version of Fallout 3, I think.
Yeah, I mean, there's the idea of a real-life Pip-Boy, so you can put your smartphone in on the attachment of your wrist, and you can also do the Pip-Boy on your phone instead of doing it while you're in the game. Do you like the idea of that, sort of making it a bit more interactive in the real world?
I don't see the point in having the Pip-Boy on your wrist because it's a massive, great, bulky bastard.
I saw a picture of it. It's pretty big.
Yeah, it comes as part of the $100 kit, doesn't it? Like the special edition or whatever you want to call it. But it's a mobile app. We've had companion apps for this generation for quite a while. Even part of last gen had some companion apps. It's a good idea. It's about time. But the only thing is, how often are you going to be doing that when you've not got the game paused? I mean, is it just a bit of an unnecessary luxury? I mean, you don't look at you're going to pause the game to look at your smartphone, aren't you? Because otherwise you're just going to get absolutely bum raped. So yeah, I don't know, maybe a bit unnecessary. I prefer it when they've got like a map or something on there.
Yeah, I mean, you can obviously use the sort of in-game one, and you can just sort of use it on your phone whenever, but I think it is just a bit of a extra touch, really, isn't it? Just trying to entice people in and go, oh, that's good.
Yeah, but you got to think of it. When you put a game down, do you want to consistently still be reminded of that game as well?
Yeah, I know what you mean. You want to just kind of step away from it, but I think it's more when you're in play, it links up. But you know, like I say, it's the way that it's going, isn't it? I think we're going to see more and more companion apps popping up for more and more games coming out. It's just a question of what kind of connectivity and what type of what it's going to bring to it, how much of a difference it's going to make. Because I mean, certainly for games that we've got at the minute, like Destiny, for example, the companion app's quite handy in moving items around, etc. So you know, it depends on what features are offered with it.
I'd probably prefer to see a screen added onto my controller.
Well, that's a lot, isn't it? You're asking for. That's a completely new controller.
We'll get into that later.
It's the Wii U, isn't it?
Yeah. So hopefully, we'll see more a little bit of Fallout 4. Obviously, I think it's a November scheduled release. So So hopefully in the coming months we'll see a bit more. But we'll move on to Doom. So this has been announced for a spring 2016 release. I saw a little quote on this, and they described it as like Bruce Lee on a skateboard with a shotgun. That is what, and they're trying to go back to some of the sort of old school Doom mechanics. I mean, some of the ones I've got in here is they said there's no reloading clips, weapon limits or health regen, and health is only dropped from killing enemies. So, by the sounds of it, they're trying to make it a bit more old school Doom. Is this something that would interest either of you guys? James, maybe?
I must admit, Doom was one of those. The original Doom was one of those games that I think if you didn't play as a kid, you probably didn't have a decent childhood. It was just amazing playing with friends and so forth. But as we've all moved on and games have moved on, and we've moved away from those sort of mechanics because there's better mechanics out there now, and there's better ways to play games with the new type of graphics we got. And for me, taking a few step backs, yeah, it's nice to reminisce, but we don't like all the sort of, to be honest, like the remake of GoldenEye, it was just poor. So, like, why take things a step back, whereas you should be trying to always progress a game for the next level? And I can't quite understand why they'd want to go back to some old mechanics. Yeah, Doom 1 was massively popular, but it isn't the way to go forward, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, to a certain extent, I think when you play a good game like Doom and you sort of remember it as of the time, and you sort of, with the later ones, you sort of want that back a little bit. So I think they're trying to sort of mould current gen graphics with old school mechanics, if that makes sense, to try and make this sort of perfect reminisce game. But I mean, my personal opinion a little bit is that Doom has seen its time, and that's it. I think there was a place for it, and I don't really see where it is now. But I mean, Hall, what do you think? Are you going to be eager to go out and get something like Doom when it comes out?
No, I mean, the original Doom was pretty revolutionary as being one of the first sort of FPS games, but it's not, like you say, you look back at it fondly. I mean, Doom 3 was the most recent one we've got to compare, and that, it got really good reviews and was quite highly acclaimed, but it just didn't grab me. They may be trying to go back to more original bits and pieces, but I just don't think it's, like James says, I think we've moved on in gaming, and it's difficult to say whether it's going to be popular. I'm sure they'll do it very well because Bethesda always do, but we'll have to wait and see. I'm not sort of overly hyped for it at the minute, to be honest.
No, and I'll be surprised. Obviously, there are people that will be, but I imagine it'll be people sort of around our age, maybe a couple of years older, that sort of played this in the same way that, imagine if there was a massive remake of essentially COD 4 in about 10 years' time or something, we would be absolutely hyped for that. Obviously, that Call of Duty 5, etc. But if they went,
but that's different because that's your re-releasing Call of Duty 4. This isn't re-releasing Doom 1. This is Doom 4 in the style of Doom.
Yeah.
So it's different. I'm not, like I say, I'm not overly convinced. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, a bit of a weird one, that. But okay, so I'll move on to Dishonored 2. Now, this isn't a game that I'm overly familiar with. They've announced it as just a TBA 2016, so we don't really know when it's going to be there, if at all in 2016, but what the way of delay news is going. But, Hall, what do you make of Dishonored 2? Did you ever play Dishonored?
No, I didn't, and I don't know. I'm sure it'll be, once again, I mean, Dishonored 1 was highly acclaimed again. I'm not entirely sure that it's going to be something that I'm going to be overly bothered about. The thing is, I mean, for all of these games, I'm still very much a console gamer, and I know that Bethesda, as the publishers for them, will be pushing them more towards PC gamers with high-powered PCs and all the rest of it. I mean, I don't know. I think there's going to be more stuff that I'm going to be more excited about again, over like Dishonored, for example. Although that said, the trailer for it looks phenomenal. So,
I mean, but we'll go through it. But it looks like it's going to be quite heavy for sort of late 2015, early 2016. There's a lot going on, so it's going to have a lot of competition, I think. So it'd be interesting to see how well that one does. I mean, I'll get a little bit of a feeling with Bethesda's one that they sort of wanted to use that as their big shout-out point was going to be Fallout, and then they sort of thought, right, well, we need to sort of say something else, and they've gone, oh yeah, we're sort of working on Dishonored 2 as well, look at us, but they've not really got an awful lot else in the pipeline on the actual game to tell us, obviously, other than the trailer. But
Yeah.
okay, well, that pretty much sort of sums up Bethesda quite nicely. I mean, the last thing I want to talk about with that a little bit, I mean, I don't know if James probably won't have this, I'm not sure, is Fallout Shelter. Now, this is an iOS game they've launched. Have either of you played this?
No, but I've gone and had a look at it in the App Store, and I found it really interesting. I've just read up about it, and I want to download it and just give it a go. But to me, it just sounds like this War of Mine, the new sort of Steam game where you've basically got a big shelter house and you can go out on little missions and collect items, and then people come in, you could decide whether you take them in or you leave them out, and it just to me sounds like they've taken this War of Mine and just put it on the iOS and just branded it with Fallout. Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't that exactly what they've just done?
Okay, I'll quickly see if Hall's downloaded it. Hall, have you got this?
No, I haven't. I've seen quite a lot of it, and I was toying with the idea, but I'm not really one for iOS games at the minute. It looks like one that you've got to be sort of semi-involved in. It's once again, I know it's a lot of people are raving about it and saying it's a lot of fun, but I don't know. I'm still just not quite there with it. I don't think I might give it. It's free at the minute, I think.
Yeah.
I might give it a download and have a little look. But like James says, I think there's probably other games that are very, very similar to it on iOS, and that one's been sort of hyped up because it comes with the Fallout name and the Fallout brand with it.
I have actually got this, and I've been sort of putting a little bit of effort into it to try and understand it. And you start off with a vault, and which is your shelter, obviously, and you then sort of have to build it up a bit. So you start off with like a little power station, a little dining room, and a little living quarters, etc. And people sort of come to your vault, and you can choose where to put them according to different skill sets and bits and bobs like that, and you level them up and you sort of add to it. Eventually the idea is to obviously build this huge shelter that's thriving with loads of people in it.
So it pretty much sounds like this War of Mine then.
You don't actually get to. You can instruct the people what to do and where to go. So you can say go out and explore the outside, etc., etc. But you can't see what they're doing or anything. You're just constantly looking at the shelter. It seems relatively basic. It's not absolutely captured me in. You do have to keep going back to it to collect your power, your water, your food and stuff, and so it can go again. It just seems a bit basic to me, but I'll give you a little fact I found about this. It's making more money per day than Candy Crush is.
Yeah, I was going to actually. This is one of the things that put me off from downloading it. It was that thing where it says when you can download an app, in-game purchases, and I cannot say how much that annoys me with games going down that route. Just give me a price to pay for it, and I'll pay for it. And I don't want in-game purchases. Just give me it all, and it just frustrates the hell out of me. And yet iOS games do it all the time, and it's so frustrating.
I think it's the way you'll generally see. I mean, we've seen it with console games, and their sort of in-game sort of little purchases, microtransactions. That's what I was looking for, and I'm going to sort of liken the microtransaction system a bit to Hearthstone, because you basically can get these little packs which give you cards, and each little card has got something on it. So it might have a bit of gear to put on one of your the people in your vault, or it'll give you a weapon or some coins, etc. So basically you can buy packs which give you random objects and things like that. So I haven't put anything into it, and quite frankly I don't think I ever will, but it's a bit of an odd one to me. I'm surprised so many people have picked that up and just gone and ploughed a load of money into it. It's incredible.
Well, I mean, it's just kind of highlights. The thing is, it's convenience, isn't it? And because it's easy to... it's the same with, like you say, like Candy Crush, The Simpsons, Tapped Out, and all the other shit games that we've got on iOS. Why people plough their money into it is beyond me. I mean, yeah, okay, you say you're comparing it to Hearthstone, but it's not quite the same in that Hearthstone is a full game that's been scaled back to be put onto iOS. I don't spend money on iOS games. It's just not going to happen. I might play a free trial of a game, and if I enjoy the game, then I'll buy the full version to get rid of adverts and stuff. But I'm not going to spend any money on in-app purchases. It's just not going to happen. And it turns it into very much a pay-to-win kind of occasion where you sink in money, you get better gear, fact, and then you complete the game quicker. It just kind of defeats the object to me.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see how it goes with that, and I'll be interested to see if it does carry on sort of raking in the money, and I expect it will because it's got Fallout badged on it. But yeah, I don't quite understand that at the minute. And when I said it's like Hearthstone, all I literally meant was in the fact that you can earn packs naturally throughout the game, but you can buy more yourself if you want to. But yeah, it's okay. It's worth checking out for free and seeing if you like it, but for me, it's not worth ploughing the money in. So let's move on now to the 15th, which was the Monday. This kicked off, I think, with the Microsoft conference, which, I mean, many have sort of claimed to be the daddy one, the one where sort of they took the title with this, if you like. But I'll quickly go over some of the announcements or bits that they went over, and then we'll go back and talk about it in a bit more detail. So they showed a bit more Halo 5 footage. They announced a new IP called Recore. They announced about Fallout 4, Plants vs Zombies, Garden Warfare 2, Forza 6, Dark Souls 3, The Division, Rainbow Six Siege, Rise of the Tomb Raider, a game or a set of games called Rare Replay, Gears 4, and they also announced sort of some operating system enhancements, backwards compatibility. And they also gave early access, which is a trial before you commit, and they also showed a controller and did a bit of HoloLens. So that's quite a bit, as you can see, for us to get through. We won't necessarily touch on it all. We won't touch on Halo 5, but we'll go on to Recore. So this is a new IP from them, which appears to be, or from what I can see, a woman and a dog. And the dog sort of destroys itself to kill enemies. And then you essentially recore it, and you bring it comes with a light, and then the light brings another nearby robot to life. So it's a bit of a different concept. It seems quite interesting. It's announced for a spring 2016 release, so probably in the next sort of 8 to 10 months. What do you guys think of a woman and a dog? Let's start with Hull.
Yeah, it looks alright. I haven't seen much of it, to be honest. It's from the makers of Metroid Prime, which I loved. So, you know, presumably it's going to be pretty good. It's also from the guy that made Mega Man,
Yes,
which I also loved. So,
bodes well for you then.
Yeah, well, I haven't seen much of it, to be honest, and we'll have to just wait and see. But who knows? It could be a winner. But until I find out, or until I see a bit more, I'm not going to make any judgments on it.
Okay. Pepper, I'm going to bin you off on that because unless you've got any valid point to make on it, you're a PS guy.
Yeah, you can pretty much skip over me for the whole Microsoft section. It really doesn't interest me at all.
Although you say that, but the next one I've got on here is Fallout 4. Xbox One versions come with a free copy of Fallout 3.
Brilliant. Why doesn't give anything to anyone really. I bet all Fallout 4. I played out Fallout 3, so yeah, to me that means nothing. It's just Xbox trying to up PS again. But then that's fanboy stuff. Like, get me out of it.
Well, they've also said that any mods that you use on the PC version will also be transferred to your Xbox One.
Brilliant.
Don't quite see how they're going to do that yet, but
that'd be interesting. That would be good if they do.
Yeah, so we're sort of slowly seeing the
listening to the podcast.
Yeah, they're listening to us and going, let us do what we want. So yeah, that would be quite interesting. So you're going to get shunned out of that, James. So next one, Plants vs Zombies Garden Warfare 2. Now, I loved this game when it came out. It was one of the first sort of games I got on my one, obviously other than Titanfall. Paul, are you looking forward to a bit of Garden Warfare 2 action?
Yeah, it's a good game. I don't know how much more they're going to do with it. That's the only thing. You know, I don't know what they're not going to change the gameplay on it massively. It's going to be pretty much Garden Warfare revamped, I think, but we'll have to wait and see.
I mean, I saw a few sort of different characters and bits and bobs. I imagine we'll get new guns and sort of maybe a few new modes and stuff. But something that I found quite interesting about this was that it gives you completely free DLC and content updates. There's going to be no charge for any of the DLC or content.
Yeah, it's the same on the first one. There's only been a couple of bits that have dropped down, but any new characters that have come down, they haven't even said anything about them. They've just gone, here you go. There's been a couple of new maps and a lot of new game types, and they've just gone, yeah, there you go, you've got them.
More of that. That is what I want more of. So, I mean, that's due to drop sort of Q2 2016. So that one will be on my radar, because I think it's a good fun game to pick up for a bit if you're getting stressed out of another, or you just want something a bit sort of comedy to play. I think that's a good one.
Yeah, it's a fun one to just have a couple of games of and then turn off for a bit.
James, does it make you wish you got an Xbox One?
No, you got Plants vs Zombies for free on the PlayStation 4. Didn't downloaded it, didn't play it. Just to me, it seems like one of those games that's like Angry Birds or anything like that. It's just a microtransaction.
But was that Plants vs Zombies or Garden Warfare? Because Garden Warfare was like a third-person shooter, whereas Plants vs Zombies is the top-down garden or tower defense style game.
Yeah, it was the top-down tower defense game. Yeah,
see, there's two different versions, but that was kind of where it originated from, which was a good game. But yeah, it's been all right. We'll have to wait and see. It's a lot of speculation, isn't it, about a lot of this? It's difficult to say until we start to see some releases and see some prices. Because once again, if Plants vs Zombies was like now, it's like 35 quid, which I'm never paying. Yeah. I think I paid 18 for it when it came out, and I was a bit dubious then. I'd pay 18 again, but I'm not paying 40 quid for it.
Yeah, see, it doesn't feel like a £40 game, so it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. And I'm sort of going to keep an eye on it and see sort of what else they're putting into it, see if there's anything that makes me want to actually do it. Next one they've said is Forza 6, so this is going to run at 1080p 60 frames a second. I mean, no doubt the graphics will look phenomenal, they always do. Other than that, I haven't really written a lot down for this. I mean, it's pretty much going to be more of the same, more cars, more tracks. James, I think you've seen the trailer for this. What do you make of it?
It just looks beautiful. There's not too much more to really say about it. It just looks absolutely fantastic. On a Forza game, you know you're going to get brilliant cars, brilliant tracks, and a great experience. So it's going to do more of the same, but just look 10 times better, which you can't really sort of knock it for.
Yeah, it does. Forza has always looked phenomenal, so that'll look even better on my 1080p. Hall, will you get a driving game at any point?
No, don't care.
I didn't think you would. Okay, so we'll move on. The Division. Now, this is, I say it looks quite interesting. It's sort of a mix of different game styles. So it's an open world multiplayer RPG. It's set in a world devastated by a deadly pathogen. So the idea is that you sort of fight enemies, you loot buildings, get stuff, you level up your player. It's set in a ravaged New York City. The beta for this will begin in December this year. Other platforms are going to get it in 2016. Quite interestingly, like sort of most games nowadays, you sort of get a story path and then side missions you can choose which you want to do. Now, this one doesn't have a story path. It's completely open world, and you can go and do what you like and choose to speak to people and do stories when you like. It's sort of a bit MMO-y, I think. It's showing that, and it draws from survivalist games such as DayZ, so it's a bit of a mix there. Now, the words DayZ automatically make me think of James, Mr. Piper. What do you make of a sound when you hear sort of those sort of things? So an RPG, a world devastated by sort of a pathogen virus, and mixing that with a survival game like DayZ. Does that make you sound excited?
Well, it just depends on how they do it, to be honest. Till today, consoles haven't really managed to sort of get a grip on the sort of survival type of games. It's very much been a sort of a PC, Steam sort of real world. So to be honest, I don't know. I'm going to, once again, it's with E3, we've seen trailers and so forth, but we've not actually got our hands on anything or seen. So yeah, I think it's one of those ones only time will tell, really. If they do manage to get it very more, as you said, like Daisy-ish, and can take that crossover to console, then that's fantastic. But yeah, I can't really sort of comment on it until I sort of really play a bit more, until I get a chance to play it, really.
Yeah. Paul, what do you make of something that sounds like that? Would you be able to get yourself into it?
Possibly, but it's Ubisoft, which means it's going to be shit.
It is always a worry at the moment with what they're going to chuck out.
Yeah, it's going to be absolutely dog shit. And it was announced at E3 2013 or 2014 rather.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is, in fact, it was 2013 E3 that it was announced. I remember, which is fucking ridiculous. That's 2 years ago.
Well, I'm just going to say now, there are some that we've sort of seen a bit more on that go back even further than that.
Yeah, exactly, and that's fucking ridiculous. Don't start talking about games until you've got a game to talk about. And now all of a sudden they've gone, oh yeah, actually it'll come out at the start of next year. They're going to fuck it up. I know they are. So
I'll chuck it out like they did with AC and just go, yeah.
And it'll just be a mess. Yeah, exactly. They'll have been developing it for fucking 6 years and it still won't fucking work. So, oh well, we'll have to wait.
It could be amazing.
Yeah, but it's probably not going to be. So
next.
Yeah. So, R6 Siege, Rainbow Six. Now, this is one that I have been pretty excited about, to be fair. There's an interesting little announcement that come along with this. So, exclusively for Xbox One, you get Rainbow Six Vegas and Vegas 2, and that will be backwards compatible. So, you get those free with Siege. What do you make of that then? Are we gonna do Vegas and Vegas 2, or are we just gonna go, right, well that's cool, and then just bin it and play Siege?
I'm not going to do any of them. I don't want old games being backwards compatible. Give me new games. Stop churning out this same old shit and just revamping old games. Stop spending time making old games playable for new consoles and focus on the fucking game that you're meant to be developing.
Alright, we're going to go a bit off piste here because I'm going to put something to you and I'm going to say, alright, so what about the other day when you said Modern Warfare 2? You can just stick it in your one and off you go.
Yeah, but that's fine because they're making the console back. They're not creating a new version of Modern Warfare 2 to work for my Xbox One. They're making the Xbox One backwards compatible, which should have been done at release anyway. So all they're doing is just backtracking over their already made mistakes.
Yeah, we knew what we were buying though. We knew these weren't backwards compatible, but
no, I know, but I'm fine. If they'd have then stuck by their guns and gone, no, it's not going to be backwards compatible, but instead they've gone, actually, 2 years have passed. I suppose we could just release that as a patch and make it backwards compatible. It's obviously had the fucking ability to do it, but they've just chosen not to include it for some reason.
Well, absolutely, but when we think about it and they go, right, well, they can barely get a party system running smoothly at the minute. I'm quite happy for them to get the basics and then go, right, there's your backwards compatibility. I mean, that's the only thing that I've been sort of wanting to play from my 360 at the moment has been a bit of Grand Theft Auto. But again,
so if you went to a restaurant and they forgot you to give you your starters and gave you your main and went, nah, your starters can come afterwards. You go, it's all right, I got it in the end. You'd be okay with that, would you? No, you wouldn't. You want it all in the order you pay for it from the start. So just give it to us first time round properly and job done. No one moans. We move on and we're all happy. It's as simple as that.
Right.
Don't accept poor quality just because they're suddenly going, oh, we can do this now. They should have done it from the get-go, and it's the same with PlayStation. It's only Nintendo that's done it right in that terms of things of backwards compatibility.
Right. I'm going to get us back on track with the news that it does have Terror Hunt, and it is called Terror Hunt. So up to 5 of you can go on there and do the Terror Hunt missions. Now, the only thing that I want now is for them to go...
Terrorist Hunt.
No, it's called Terror Hunt.
Christ.
It is called Terror.
Sounds like a fucking dinosaur.
Yeah, it's called TERROHUNT. So they've missed out the R at the end. It's called Terror Hunt.
Clever.
That's what it's called, yeah. But the only thing I need to see now is them go, right, well, you can take pictures and put them on. So we have our faces on the characters, and then it's a perfect game. It's not going to happen, though.
it's going to be a shit game.
Yeah. So, well, anyway, that is out October the 13th. So, again, backing up at the end of the year, we've got Halo 5 October the 27th. We've got Rainbow Six October the 13th. Fallout 4 November the 10th. It's going to all start. There's going to be backlogs. That's the concern. More backlogs. Anyway, we'll move on to the next one, which I thought was quite an interesting announcement, actually. Rare Replay. It's a giant bundle, and let's use the word giant, of 30 classic games from Rare. It's going to be $30. I don't know what that equates to in pounds, but it's $30. So you got a game $1, which is not bad value. And it includes games such as Banjo-Kazooie, Banjo-Tooie, Perfect Dark, and we're going to see this August the 4th. Hall, what do you make of something like this, a massive bundle of old games?
I will buy that quite happily. Mm-hmm. And the reason I don't get quite so aggravated by this being old games being revamped and whatever else is because Microsoft have been complete helmets and said to Rare, oh yeah, we want you just to make mobile games for us. And they've finally gone, oh, actually, maybe you can make some proper games for our console, please. And everyone's gone, finally, you fucking useless bunch of cunts. Get Rare making all your games because they actually know what they're doing. I will be absolutely snapping this up because Banjo-Kazooie, Banjo-Tooie, excellent games, still hold up. It looks like Conker's Bad Fur Day is going to be on there as well. Yeah. Unfortunately, they're not obviously going to get like the Donkey Kong Countries, Donkey Kong 64 and all of that, which
no, I didn't see that on the list.
A lot of people will want those, but they're never going to get them because the licensing from Nintendo is just not going to be available. Yeah. But, you know, there's going to be a lot of good games on there. I mean, you've only got to look at how well the Kickstarter for Rare to remake Yooka-Laylee went to understand that this is the type of stuff that people want. These are the games that people love and people enjoy, and it will do very, very well.
They're too interested, mate, in games like Dark Souls and Tomb Raider. I mean, Tomb Raider was another announcement that they've gone, but I've glossed over it a little bit because I just think, yeah, it's just another one. Do something, go back and get some of those classic games, those platformers and those explorative games and bring them to us. So, yeah, I thought that was quite a good one, actually. So that's going to be, between 20 and 25 quid, is that right?
Yeah, probably around that mark, 23, 24 quid, yeah.
Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie are long games as well. They're not
walkthrough games, yeah. No, they're good. They're good. They're very good games. They will hold up. It depends what they do with obviously the graphical side of things, but you know, people still play them. People still download them. So yeah, it'll be a worthy purchase, I think, especially for that price.
Potential 30,000 gamer score for you there, Hall.
I doubt it. It'll have achievements with it, or if it does, it'll just be like beat this game, beat that game.
Yeah. James, what do you make of something like that?
Yeah,
like the sound of it?
Yeah, pretty much just exactly what Hall just said. It'll be fun. It'll be good. It just be something that I think it'd be good to put on. You can play at ease, and you just don't really have to get frustrated or worried with it. You just enjoy it.
I'd like something like that, but like a massive Sega bundle or sort of something like that. I think that would be quite an interesting, just for a couple of games that were really big, that did loads sort of 10 years, 15 years ago, just to put them out on something like that, and I'd absolutely snap it up. But yeah, that was a good one, I thought, and it's something a bit sort of refreshing, rather than going, look at this great big game we've got that's costing all this money. Instead they go, right, we're putting all these games that you loved, make them accessible for you, which I thought was a nice touch. So the next one, Sea of Thieves. Now this is a shared world pirate multiplayer adventure game. Don't have a release date for it as yet, but I have actually been looking for sort of a good pirate game, and I thought I was going to get it from Assassin's Creed, but backlog has cost me. What do you make of an idea of sort of a shared? I mean, I presume you sort of get on a server, and what do you make of the idea of that? Let's start with Paper.
As you said, we've all been waiting for a good pirate game. Hopefully this will be it. I doubt it will. They haven't done a decent one yet. To be honest, the only people that I can see doing a good pirate game would be the guys at Rockstar. I may be wrong. It just strikes me as that's the perfect thing for them to do. But yeah, once again, it'd be good if it's fantastic. I doubt it will be. Well, I probably won't buy it unless the reviews come in and start saying it's amazing. Yeah,
we'd need probably an Xbox for it at the moment anyway, but... Paul, what do you think? Shared world pirate game for you? Is it a pirate's life for me?
I think it's going to be good. It's Rare again, and I have faith in Rare and pretty much everything they do. I like the style that they're doing it in, like the sort of semi-cartoony kind of stylized graphics.
Yeah.
Like I say, I just think it's going to be very good. I'm hoping it'll be everything that I wanted Assassin's Creed to be.
Yeah.
But it just wasn't quite. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, same here. Now, the daddy, the words Gears 4. Now, they've announced this and said Holiday 2016. Mr. Hall, how excited are you about the words Gears 4?
I am, as long as it holds up to the hype. You always run the risk whenever you're releasing the next game in a series that it's going to fall down on the previous however many there's been. I mean, the Gears trilogy I absolutely loved. I know a lot of people said that it sort of tailed off a little bit, but as I mentioned, I personally thought that they were a brilliant set of games. Yeah. They've obviously announced that they're going to do the Ultimate Edition as well, which is a revamp of Gears 1. I'm just obviously I'm looking forward to it. It's just a case of please don't fuck it up.
Yeah, it is more of a...
Don't make another Gears Judgment. Make Gears 4. Don't fuck me over with another shit game like Gears Judgment.
Put the fucking controls back as well. Give me classic controls and I'll be happy in a good game. Dom back from the dead, spoilers alert, and that's what I would take that. Now, let's go to the Ultimate Edition then. Have you had a little go of this? There's obviously a beta out at the moment, or a beta. We haven't yet decided how to say it, but what do you make? Have you had a go?
Yeah, I've been playing it quite a bit. It's I'm not sure. I'm not sure whether it's technically a closed beta or an open beta. I know you had to put down your gamer tag and you get an email through. So I presume they're closing it at some point or another. But I've played quite a bit of it. The thing is, it is a remake of Gears 1, so there's quite a lot with regards to like game mechanics, little bits and pieces that you could do in Gears 2 and Gears 3 that are not there. It's only multiplayer at the moment, so it's online matches only, which for a lot of people is probably going to be quite frustrating because I know a lot of people didn't like the online particularly because it's quite difficult, especially when people have got their shotguns out and whatever else. So we'll have to... At the minute, I mean, I'm obviously, like I say, I'm a big Gears fan, and it just kind of brings back a few memories, and it's nice to be playing Gears again on the Xbox One. I don't really see the point in doing a remaster of Gears 1 when they're going to make the Xbox One backwards compatible, though.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I'm not quite sure of the thought around that. I mean, if they sort of ramp it up a little bit, then obviously I can, but... I mean, I was asking for a Gears of War remake and I've got it, and I've got a new one coming, so for me that is absolute jackpot. But yeah, we'll see what happens and we'll see sort of what announcements are made about Gears 4 in the near future, and I'll definitely be keeping my eye on that one. So now we sort of got a few little sort of software and hardware announcements. So obviously, as we've mentioned, Microsoft gets backwards compatibility, so you'll be able to play all your 360 favourites on your one. You've also got early access, which is essentially obviously you get a trial of a game before you commit and pay your hard-earned money, which is a nice little idea I quite like. They've announced a new Elite controller, which is customizable, and you can sort of make all the analog sticks and buttons to how you want them. And I think it's got some additions to it as well, and it looks, I mean, I must admit, it looks pretty sweet. That is retailing at £99. And then they obviously did quite a bit about the HoloLens. What did you make of their HoloLens announcement?
Well, the big part they did was showing it off with Minecraft. And I thought I was excited about the HoloLens when it was first shown. I was excited about it when the Xbox One sort of speculation before it was even being released. I knew the HoloLens was coming, and you know they're just teasing you with a little bit more each time. It looks excellent. I think it looks like it's augmented reality rather than virtual, which I think is the way to go because it keeps you kind of grounded, whereas with the Oculus and stuff, you know, like we said, it's a bit weird, but you're looking around with your head, but you're opening doors with a controller. I think that the the augmented reality will kind of solve that, in that that you're still in a building, you've still got your surrounding environments. But I thought the demonstration they did with Minecraft was very good. Not overly practical. I don't think you'd often use it, but it's nice to see the technology is there and what's kind of up and coming. So it'd be interesting to see what happens with it.
Yeah, I agree. James, you're a big Minecraft fan. You love the online and you love playing Minecraft. What do you make of the idea and sort of getting a HoloLens on and building around your lounge with this on your head?
Yeah, no, it looks interesting. Once what Hall's just said is probably the sort of hits the nail on the head. How practical is it going to be to use? We all have like the Kinects and stuff like that, and they're brilliant. It's great to see where the technology's going, but realistically, have we got the room for all of this? We're not made of big spaces anymore. We've all got sort of reasonable size sort of living rooms, so it's how practical will this be in my house is the real question everyone probably should be asking. If it is practical and you can do some cool things, it will be brilliant and it will move everything forward. And with Minecraft, it makes sense, but practicality, how well are we going to be easy to use?
Yeah, I mean, my concern with this whole HoloLens business is part of the fun for me is going and blowing up what you've made and going and annoy Hall and punching him in the back of the head. And I enjoy doing those sort of things on Minecraft. I mean, I know it's more of a tech demo for the HoloLens, but part of the fun for me for something like Minecraft is to actually be playing it with friends. So obviously it's going to be a bit difficult for me to start messing around with Hall's lounge unless I'm there with him. So I think you kind of lose that element with it. But
I think it might bring back in people playing computer games sitting next to each other, which we've lost.
Next to you, lost.
Yeah, but we lost. We used to think about the fun we had when we was kids growing up, sitting with each other in the lounge playing.
I had no fun with you at all.
It's because he wasn't our friend when we was younger. We only invited you in later on in life, and that was a mistake in itself.
Yeah, no, James is right. Like sitting around his house and just playing either GoldenEye or like when we got the GameCube, just sat around, four of us playing that. It was a lot of fun. So, hopefully it brings back the more sociable side of things, because now it is very much a case like even when we used to do our Geekdom days where you just go around someone's house with a load of televisions and you LAN game. You don't bother anymore. It's just, oh, fuck it, we'll just play online.
Typical nightmare, mate.
Yeah, but it was fun. But when it happened, it meant it was that much more interesting. Whereas now, it's like, oh, do you want to play online for a bit? Yeah, all right, fuck it. Like it's sapped the fun out of multiplayer gaming because it's so easily accessible. Now I'm only interested if I'm playing against some weirdo from the other side of the world who I like to rub it in when I win. Like that's all that really matters anymore. Just teabagging someone's dead body and just being like, gutted, you're shit. I don't get the excitement anymore of like being online with. I mean, it's good fun when you get like 5 or 6 people because it's so easy to do. It rarely happens because everyone's like, oh, we can just do it tomorrow. We'll do it another time.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's something to be said about that on a sort of an off-piste note. That I mean, I used to play a lot of LAN gaming in the old internet cafes, and that was great fun. And it was almost like not a day out.
Nerd.
Yeah, but it was really good fun, and you sort of knew who was where. Sort of, you could see your enemy to a certain extent, and it was good, sort of doing that. And I suppose to a certain extent, just sitting you in front of your TV with a headset on isn't as good. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see where they take the HoloLens. I mean, I think it's more of a tech demo for it anyway. But yeah, I mean, I think, as I say, we've spent quite a bit of time there on Microsoft, and you can see they've got quite a lot of announcements, and we're only picking out the highlights really here to talk about. So they did announce quite a bit. So let's move on. EA. Now, they announced, I mean, they've pretty much got 2 or 3 big hitters here, but I'll just sort of go over what I've got here. So, Mass Effect Andromeda, Need for Speed, Unravel, NBA Live 2016, obviously PvZ. They also announced a new Mirror's Edge, and the big one, for me anyway, Star Wars Battlefront. So let's go back to the beginning. Let's start with Mass Effect Andromeda. Now, this has been teased with the gaming community since 2012, so we've had sort of 3 years of them saying, yep, we're going to do one. They've finally announced it's going to be here, holiday 2016, they've said. It's more of a standalone game. It doesn't contain the main character from the previous games, Commander Shepard. But they have said Krogans should be making an appearance, which I found quite interesting. What's a Krogan? No?
Do you?
Anyone know a Krogan? Yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, well, why am I making an appearance into Mass Effect? But it shares system tech apparently with Dragon Age Inquisition. So I expect it's not going to be a reskinned version necessarily, but there's probably going to be quite a lot of similarities with that. And I think App said that was quite a good handling, nifty little game. Hall, I think you're a big Mass Effect fan. Are you excited?
Yeah, it'd be good. You know, it's going to be, you know, they make good games. We know it's going to be massively popular. People have been bugging about it for a long time. I think they've done the right thing in not going with Shepard again. They needed to do something a bit new and something a bit different. And I think it's going to be, like I say, you know, it's going to be popular. It's just a question of when, really. Just hurry up and get it out. But obviously don't rush it.
Yeah. Well, I haven't played Mass Effect before. It kind of slipped past me. I think that was more of my Call of Duty 4 FIFA days. But apparently this one's going to be much more of an open world game, which is sort of similar to how Dragon Age Inquisition sort of operates. Do you think that will work for something like Mass Effect?
Yeah, I mean, whatever they do, they're going to do it. They're going to do it well. Like I say, they know what they're doing. They know the type of games that they make, and they've never made a fuck up of it before. So, you know, touch words, it'll be what everyone's looking for. It's going to have its critics because these type of games always do. But I have faith in them to make the game that I'm looking for at least, and I know MacLeod will be as well. MacLeod's a massive fan of the Mass Effect game, so yeah, I reckon it'll be a hit.
Yeah, I think he liked Dragon Age Inquisition as well, so hopefully this should be another hit for him. Paper, you got anything to say on that?
No.
I'm happy for you just to go, nope.
Nope.
I'll ask you sometimes, but I'm happy for you to just go, nah, don't care.
Pretty much most of this EA section we can skip past me.
Alright, I'll just engage Hull on some of them then. Just a quick point, Need for Speed is making a comeback, which I thought was quite interesting, because that'll be going up against Forza 6, presumably. And probably, I'll say going up against, but the crew's obviously out there as well. So it'll be interesting to see how Need for Speed does. There's a new game they're bringing, which is called Unravel, which is a physics-style based puzzle platformer. This is already available to pre-order for $20 on Origin on PC, but obviously this will be coming to console at some point. This to me sort of instantly buzzed me as one of these sort of either an apps Let's Play or a Hall style achievement hunt. I mean, you like physics style based games, Hall. What do you reckon? You reckon you'll get something like that for sort of what it's going to retail for between 15 and 20 quid over here, I expect?
Yeah, maybe.
Games with gold?
There's a lot of games like that, aren't there, that are around and about. It looks like quite a clever idea, like you're made of yarn and whatever else. But you know, I like a good platformer. But if the opportunity arises, I'm going to buy that rare 30 games all at once, and that's going to sap most of my platforming life. So I'm not really looking for any more sort of 2D. Or I don't know whether it's going to be 2D or 3D. I haven't watched the trailer for it. Do you know, just off the top of your head? Or
I don't know, no.
Oh, well, if it's a side-scrolling type jobby, then I'm not going to be that bothered. And even if it's a 3D one, I think that I'm going to be more interested in what Rare have to offer than that.
Yeah, I mean, I presume if it's a platformer, it's going to be sort of more 2D. But, I mean, we do seem to be a bit inundated with the old puzzle platformers at the minute. But nevertheless, it's always nice to have another one to go on the list. We'll move on. Mirror's Edge Catalyst. Now this is coming out February 23rd, 2016. I never played the original Mirror's Edge, but I understand it was very sort of going, look what we can do with sort of parkour, and it was very limited. But they've basically said that this one is it's got much more variety in it. It's more focused on a story. Again, there seemed to be this sort of demand for open world, so this is an open world game, and there's only hand-to-hand combat. Hall, did you ever play Mirror's Edge? I think I played a demo for it once, and I was sort of a bit unfussed by it.
Yeah, I played quite a bit of it. It was okay. it's like you say, it was more just, I think, them experimenting with like the physics, the parkour and stuff. It was first person as well, which made it a little bit more tricky for some people. But I think this is going to be. I think it'll be good. They'll refine what they did with the first one. I like the combat system in them as well. In that you kill someone, you take their gun would have like 5 or 6 bullets in it, and that would be it. And then you'd be back to having no weapons. So I quite like that side of things. I think that'd be quite interesting. It's difficult to say again what they're going to do with it. I don't see how they're going to make it that much different to the previous one. I don't know if open world will specifically work for that type of game, but there's a lot of these ones that are coming out that are sort of, the whole parkour side of things that seems to have taken over games a little bit, where they're trying to get some decent climbing and decent sort of scaling of a landscape. So it'd be interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I was sort of thinking that something like Mirror's Edge would be more like a tech demo for what they could do, and it'd sort of use that sort of in future games. But I didn't expect them to be doing a actual story around it, and we'd be getting a sequel. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what sort of reception that's met with when it comes out. Okay, the biggie, Star Wars Battlefront, November the 17th. This one. What are we saying? I'm going to go to paper on this to see if you've seen anything of it.
Yeah, so this is probably the one thing I was looking forward to from EA, if I'm being honest. And for me, in my head, I wanted it to be a more sort of slow-paced game, a bit like a Skyrim, massive open world. You can travel around on different things, and it's quite slow-paced, and you can go into great battle scenes and so forth. However, to me,
massively disappointing.
Yeah, to me, it just seems like fucking Destiny, which to me is just COD on coke. So I've been massively put off. I know there's a massive market out there for that type of gaming, but to me, I'd rather go and take a dump than to play that.
I'm just going to say in defence that I actually think now Coke is more like Destiny. COD is more like Destiny on Coke, from my experience anyway. But I'm excited for this game. I love Star Wars, and it looks very atmospheric. That's the only way I can describe it from what I've seen. And I love the idea of sort of all the Star Wars guns and vehicles and taking down the big walkers. Paul, what have you seen of this? What do you make?
I'm not that worried about it. It's just Battlefield, isn't it? With Star Wars skins.
Yeah, I think there is an element of that. But
it's exactly what it is, isn't it? I mean, it's made by DICE. Mm-hmm. It's just going to be Battlefield. They could have done so much better with it. They could have done like a mixture of that plus like Rogue Squadron when that came out, where you do some fucking fighting in X-Wings, and you should be able to take it like get in a plane and fly into space and go in and out of atmosphere and whatever else, and it's just going to end up being a very flat land-based just kill one another. I'm sure everyone's going to spunk their pants over it because it's fucking Star Wars and it's got like a bazillion fanboys, and Battlefront, the previous one, was a good game, but I'm not that bothered. I'm not the biggest of Star Wars fans anyway, so
yeah. I mean, I'm not going to say I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I mean, I really love the films and I love all the sound effects and everything. I think they're brilliant, but
Star Wars.
Yeah, I just love the idea of taking down a walker and sort of going up against them. I don't know. It's just something. I don't know what it is. It just really appeals to me. But I do hope there's a bit more sort of variety in it, in that they've not just got one of these sort of 64-player maps, and instead of there being a chopper, you can get in one of the ships. And do you know what I mean? I hope they haven't just, what Hall said, have just reskinned it, but
that's exactly what they've done, to be honest, so you're going to be disappointed.
It looks like it could be good, but I think it's because of what I've got in my head about it that it's making it maybe better than it seems. But that's what EA have got anyway. I mean, that's not a bad little bunch there. Mass Effect, Mirror's Edge, Star Wars, so they're looking pretty good. Let's move on to, I'll say, our favourites. They're probably our least favourite at the moment, and that is Ubisoft. Now, we got a couple of announcements from them. Some of them I was a little bit surprised about, but we've got a new South Park called The Fractured But Whole. We've got a game called For Honor. We've got some new DLC announced for The Crew called Wild Run. A new game called Anno 2005. The Division, Rainbow Six Siege, a new Assassin's Creed called Syndicate, and Ghost Recon Wildlands. So there's a couple of big titles in there anyway. Let's start with South Park, The Fractured But Whole. Now this is a follow-up to The Stick of Truth. Have either of you played this? James, have you played it?
I played The Stick of Truth, yeah, and it was a fun game, but it just got repetitive in the end, and I never completed it. So it's funny, like South Park's funny. If you like that type of humour, you got lots of that in there, and it's well done in terms of the game. But it's nothing to write home about at the end of the day, and I'm pretty sure this next game is going to be much of the same comedy lines that you can laugh at and joke around about, but it's not something you're going to say, go out and buy it straight away. It's the type of game that one person will buy and then they'll give it to their mate, and then they'll give it to their mate once they've done it, and they'll give it to their mate once they've done it, and it'll just get passed around.
I mean, I never played The Stick of Truth, so I've literally got no comment to make, but I know when it came out, a few people around the time were saying it was a good little game. Paul, did you ever play this?
Yeah, I played The Stick of Truth. It's James is right though. I loved it. I like South Park, so inevitably I'm gonna find it amusing. It was like a big South Park episode, but with the occasional turn-based fight in the middle. And the main problem that I had was I thought it could have just been a bit more, perhaps like a Telltale style game. I didn't think the fighting was that necessary. The turn-based fighting it was just a bit pointless. Like if you did it sensibly, you were never going to lose any fights. And right. I think it would have been better if they'd have just gone, actually, we're just going to make like a narrative story type game where you've got a little bit of wandering around and you've got to go and find stuff and do whatever else and travel between. But it was all about the dialect in it, and it is like a South Park episode. It is absolute comedy gold, but I just don't think they needed quite so much of the fighting in it, to be honest. You didn't buy it for that. You bought it for the comedy.
Yeah, it seems so. You basically were just going through the motions in it at times, then, by the sounds of it. But would you be interested in this sequel?
Yeah, I'll play through it because, as I said, I like South Park and I find it funny. I mean, the last one I found funny and I played it all the way through. But I'll reserve. I won't buy it for full price again. It's not a £40 retail game. It's one that you buy for £20 and have a bit of a laugh with. But like James says, I'd much rather borrow it off a friend or something.
Yeah. Okay. So the next game they announced was For Honor, which is a large medieval multiplayer team-based game with mass combat. Now, I'm not really going to go too much into that. I just thought it's just another one to add to the pot. There's
too many to this part, Christ.
Yeah, I just thought, really, are we doing another one? I mean, what? I haven't got much information on it for you, I'm afraid, but
skip it then. Skip it. Bin. Next game.
I was just saying, it's just interesting. There's another one there, and I don't know what Ubisoft are going to do with it. That's what I'm going to call them now. Ubisoft. Like it. So, yep, we've got the Crew Wild Run DLC for that shit game that me and Apps both hate. And obviously we've already mentioned The Division and Rainbow Six Siege, so I won't go over that again. So I'll move on to Assassin's Creed Syndicate. Now, I haven't played the most recent one, but obviously Apps was quite critical of it, and it was a very buggy, and it just wasn't good. Hull, what are you expecting? Are you expecting Ubisoft to pull their finger out a bit on this one?
Well, it can't be much worse. But, I mean, I like the Assassin's Creed games, I do, but I think they've run their course. I like the idea of it being in London, but does that make any difference, really? I mean, the last ones have been set all over the place, and it's not like it's not like they have any recognisable landmarks in it or anything. I mean, they'll probably stick Big Ben in and something else, and everyone will be like, "Oh, it's in London," but no one really gives a fuck. The games have gone on for they've run their course. They're good games, but they're all just exactly the same. So there's not really any need to keep revisiting it. I know it makes money for them and they'll always be popular, but they made such a fuck up of the last one as well. I think they're just trying to milk it now for all the cash that it's worth.
Yeah, it is a massive cash cow. I mean, funnily enough, one of the first things that come to my head was when I read the words set in Victorian era London, 1868, during the Industrial Revolution, and I suddenly thought, poorly voiced English actors.
Yeah.
it's going to be some really poor Cockney American attempts. And I thought, oh, please don't do that. But we know they're doing a yearly release on this now. It's out on October the 23rd. The PS4 will be getting exclusive DLC on this, so us Xbox users won't get that anyway. James, is Assassin's Creed one for you?
Nope.
No, not interested at all.
No, lost. It to me is exactly just what Hall said, and I don't want to keep repeating what people are saying, but it's just run its course. 1, 2, brilliant, and 3, and then it just gets the same, and it's just a new skin. It just feels like some of these games are just churning out the same old thing again, and it's brilliant when it first comes out, but you need to sometimes move on or give something different.
At least have a break.
Yeah, that's the thing. Assassin's Creed would be brilliant if they gave it a 5-year break and then they released a new one that they'd put time and effort into, but they're not going to because it's their cash grabbing. So it's no one's winning. So I won't be going to get it. And to be honest, they can keep their free DLC on the PlayStation.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a bit confused by this because they're really under pressure if they're going to turn one out every year. Obviously, Call of Duty do it, but they've generally had 2 different developers working on it, so they at least get 2 years to do a game. But to sort of be...
But the Assassin's Creed games are all the fucking same. They all use the same engine. They all use the same gameplay. All they're doing is reskinning it again and creating a new map. It's not like they bring in anything new. There's no new features to it. You might get a different dagger or something, but
it's just a skin.
It's the same old shit. It's the same old regurgitated shit.
You'd probably argue the same for Call of Duty, though.
It is.
But they sometimes make a new engine for it. Not very often, but
I mean, it's obviously going to be there, and in the same way that COD still tempts me and you, Hall, I'm sure this one will still be tempting the big Assassin's Creed fans, but no doubt they'll be scarred a little bit or burnt from what happened last time round. I mean, one thing's for sure, I think, on this is that they can't afford to get this one as wrong as they did on the last one. They can't afford to have that, so I think if they do that again, then I think the franchise is basically dead. Let's move on. So, Ghost Recon Wildlands. Now, I've seen a little bit of the Ghost Recon games, but not an awful lot. Have either of you ever played any of the previous Ghost Recons?
Nope.
nah.
Okay. So, from what I saw before, these were sort of, I believe, sort of more realistic army games where you sort of did missions. But this is going to be a free-form, open world again missions. So you go around doing what you like. I don't quite see how that's going to work. You can do this with 4 players, or you can do them solo, and people can sort of jump in and out at will and do what you want. You've also got a choice of doing the missions how you like. So in a lot of games they go, there's only one way to kill someone, or there's one way to do a mission. You've got multiple ways of doing it. You can do it stealthily, or you can just go in there and gung-ho, and it has different outcomes and stuff. Does that sound good to you? Does that sound like an interesting mix? Hall, what do you make of that? So it's a bit like Destiny in that you've got loads of players and people can jump in and out. I mean, what do you think?
I don't know. I don't really know enough about the Ghost Recon series, to be honest, to kind of make too much of a comment. I've seen bits and pieces of them, but I don't know how they're going to do it. It's a first-person shooter, and it's a Call of Duty, isn't it? It's a Call of Duty style game. I don't see how they're going to do it with a big sort of jumping in, jumping out, and big cooperative bits and pieces. I think it's going to be tough to pull off, but they've obviously got a plan for it. It might work out, but difficult to see. It's another one. I haven't seen enough of it to really make too much of a comment on it, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, it interested me that they're taking it sort of down an open world route, because can you imagine if Call of Duty all of a sudden went, yep, we're going open world, you sort of go, well, how's that going to work in a sort of army mission sense? But we'll see. That, I mean, that's what Ubisoft have got to offer. I mean, it's not a bad little pot really when you consider Rainbow Six is in there. Obviously Assassin's Creed will be a big one for them as well, but we'll obviously keep an eye on what they've got and see if they can actually make decent games for once.
Well, yeah, I'm going to put my hat in the ring and say I'm not a Ubisoft fan, so
no
to
one
be honest, it's just they're just churning out the same old crap, and it's to be honest, we could have skipped past that whole section because we know exactly what they're going to produce, the same as they produced last time. last
Well,
gen.
we have to appeal to all of our fans, James, and some of them will obviously be big fans of Ubisoft. So
If you've got fans of Ubisoft, you shouldn't have them as fans, to be honest.
Don't listen. Fuck off. No one likes you.
Yes, job done, Ubisoft fans, get out.
all right. Well, on that note, then we'll move on. So, Sony. Now, some have said that Sony was a little bit underwhelming, but what we got from them was an announcement of The Last Guardian, Star Wars Battlefront, obviously that's coming there, Horizon Zero Dawn, Disney Infinity, Hitman, Shenmue 3, Firewatch, Final Fantasy VII HD Remake, Uncharted 4, Thief's End, and obviously Assassin's Creed. Now, on the face of it, doesn't seem like a really bad list, and I must hasten to add that Shenmue 3 was not actually an announcement. But let's start on The Last Guardian. Now, this was, or has been given a release date of to be announced 2016, so could be any point next year. This game was originally set for 2011, so it's been delayed for 5 years. From what I can see, it intrigued me that it's gone that far back, and I look back and that apparently it appears a series of staff left, and it set the game back. The producer left and they had to change producer, but it's essentially a friendship, from what I got, between a young boy and an animal, and you solve puzzles. When I put it down to a sort of simple level, I mean, can a game that was originally designed for consoles way back in 2011 be a success on consoles sort of 5 years later? I mean, James, what do you make of this?
Well, yes, it can. Like, to me, that all that says is they've delayed it for 5 years because they wanted to put out a good game. They haven't rushed it and just thought we need to make the money on this. They've said we want to make a good game. And I've watched a video of the trailer of it, and it looks like it could be just really, really good fun. As you said, it'd be like some sort of like a puzzle game with you're like a Japanese kid, and you've got this big sort of like dog-like monster that's like about 10 times the size of the boy, and the friends, and you're going around this puzzle sort of map, and it looks really interesting. It looks like they've put together a well sort of thought out game that they haven't rushed, and I must admit I'm quite looking forward to this one.
I mean, I'm just going to say there's not rushing, and then there's taking probably nearly the best part of 6 years to dev a game.
Yeah, but it wasn't a game that people were expecting, or people were wanting, or people were hanging on to their arseholes for. They were.
Mate, they've mentioned it every year at E3.
Yeah, but they haven't had people like you getting on their back saying, "Where's this game? Where's this game? Where's this game?" People have let them do what they need to do, and now it's coming out, and it does not one that's going to wow the crowds, but it's going to be one that I think a lot of people are going to really enjoy, and it's going to get some good reviews.
Okay. Paul, now, what do you make of this? I mean, my fear is that a game like this is just going to be up-raised and sort of brought up to the sort of next or current gen level from a previous gen. What do you make of this, sort of bringing such a sort of, I'm going to say, such an old game sort of to the fore?
Not old, but carry on.
I don't really know, to be honest. I don't know what to make of it. I mean, it's the classic case of, can you overwork something? Can it? It's like you say, they've been working on it for a long time. They started development for it when presumably the Xbox One and the PS4 weren't even in development. So you don't know, do you? But maybe they've just been perfecting the storyline for it. I don't know. I mean, it's not something that I haven't got PS4, so it doesn't really affect me. But we'll have to wait and see. Again, you just don't want it to everyone to go, fucking hell, they've had 7 years to make this game. This is a piece of shit. What you want them to do is to judge it for a game that gets released. People automatically hear that 7 years and think this had better be the best game in the history of the universe, which is probably not going to be. But you never know, do you? You don't know what's going to happen with it. You don't know what's going to come out.
It strikes me as a game that's pretty old school in the way as it's thinking, but it's sort of brought to a sort of a new era. And that type of game doesn't need to be graphically the best. Like Minecraft isn't graphically the best; it's the biggest fucking selling game in the world. So it just needs to be a good story and good gameplay for people can enjoy it. I think it's going to be one of those ones that Hall actually really like.
Yeah, I mean, it could sort of just be an average game. It could be a great game. It could be a shit game. But you'd like to think. I mean, my concern is when you have many people sort of leave in and then someone else come onto it, is that it might be a bit disjointed or there's no sort of clear direction on it. So if someone had their idea originally to make it and then they left and they bring another producer on it, he's got different ideas for it and it might be a bit confused. But I mean, it could be a good one. We'll have to wait and see.
It'll be alright, trust me.
So the next one, Horizon Zero Dawn. Now, this is almost like they listened to us a couple of weeks ago. This is from the creators of Killzone, and it's set in the distant future after civilization has crumbled and machines battle what humans are left. Well, I mean, it sounds to me like robot dinosaurs.
Exactly, robot dinosaurs. So, yeah, it looks like, to me, this is for me the most exciting game of E3. Just personally, it's the type of game that I like. The mechanics of it look very similar to the type of mechanics you might get in like The Last of Us, something by like Naughty Dog, and to me it just looks visually amazing. Who doesn't like fucking dinosaurs? We all like dinosaurs, and they're robot dinosaurs. So
make us sound like a bunch of fucking children.
Yeah, but
who doesn't like dinosaurs? I mean.
But the only thing that I was a bit like taken back was the lead character is this woman that looks like the ginger mess from Game of Thrones. So
who's
the ginger mess?
What, Sansa?
No, the wildling one. It looks like
Jon Snow.
She looks like exactly the same.
Agreed. She was hot.
I'm not. Yeah, but like all I'm trying to say is, to me, that character is exactly her. Like, she's dressed the same. She has a bow and arrow as a main weapon, and she's taken on fucking weird things beyond another world. So it's a really interesting concept because it's obviously set massively in the future where we've all fucked up and these new people and clans. I'm hoping it's going to be a massive sort of open world, sort of Skyrim type game where you can walk around and these dinosaurs are like everywhere, and it just looks like it could be really good. It'll be one of those games that will either be one of the top 5 games in the year or it'll be a massive letdown.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that concerns me with this is that you don't get really awesome weapons, so you're sort of still set with primitive bows and arrows, but if you aim at certain parts, the sort of weak areas and things, I mean, I can't really complain at it because at least they haven't done zombies. And we mentioned about robots, we've mentioned about dinosaurs, and they've bloody put the two together. I mean, Hull, would this make you, if this really sort of come out and it got rave reviews and you saw some stuff on it, you went, wow, this looks amazing, could this be a game that would make you get a Sony PS4?
No. If I'm going to get a PS4, it's going to be for other games. I'm not going to buy a PS4 for a game that I don't know anything about. I'm going to get it for Final Fantasy remakes, or I'm going to get it for like some of the other big like the Uncharted 4s. I'm not going to go on and just it doesn't appeal to me massively, to be honest with you.
Well, it sounds good to me. I mean, let's hope that it sort of lives up to what sort of me and Piper have got in our heads as what could be on a great game in principle.
Yep.
This one here, Shenmue 3. So this is a sequel to 2001 open world RPG game. So a Kickstarter campaign was set up to fund it. I think it's the director or the producer, sort of Yu Suzuki, his name is, sort of made an appeal. He said, yeah, I want to make it. Basically, it reached the goal of 2 million in less than a day, which is incredible. It actually broke the Guinness World Record for the fastest video game to raise 1 million in contributions from crowdfunding. On the back of that, Sony said, all right, we'll fund the rest of the dev into the next Shenmue game. It was never under dev or announced, as I say. It was literally just there that he wanted to make a game, and everyone's gone, yeah, we'll have it. And obviously Sony went, well, if everyone wants it, we'll quite happily fund it. Now, I never played the originals of this. I've got no idea what it's like. So, Paul, is this one that you're aware of?
I know of it. Yeah, it was Shenmue 1 was it's a Sega game. It was created by Sega, but it came out. The original one was for the Dreamcast, and it was like it used the characters from Virtua Fighter, which was a big game, but it was massive because it cost like $50 million to make, which at the time was obviously fucking huge. Yeah. But I know everyone's been kind of waiting for it, which is why, as you said, the Kickstarter happened and it got there absolutely instantly. You know it's going to be a smash hit because all of the people who have been waiting for it and have contributed towards the Kickstarter are going to be all over it like a rash. So, you know, it's not surprising to see that they're doing it, but I don't know. Well, once again, it's Sony on it. It doesn't really affect me at the moment. So,
I mean, I'm saying that they've sort of made a little gesture on this, and it's set for a digital release only. But those who contributed $60 or more will get a physical PC copy. So they've effectively paid for their game anyway, in being part of the crowdfunding. But I like stories like that. They sort of make me realise that at least if people show enough of going, yeah, we want to play this, then someone like Sony will go, yeah, all right, we'll fund it for you then, and we'll make it. So I thought it was quite a nice touch from them. But yeah, it was interesting that they just went, yeah, I want to make one, and literally, and it was, I think it might have been even under 12 hours or something stupid. There was like, yeah, we've made it, done. we'll make the game. So the next game I've got here is a game called Firewatch. Now, it's quite an interesting concept, this. Basically, it's a sort of a mystery game set in the woods in America. And you're sort of a lookout for fire, like bushfires, basically. And you sort of out there looking for smoke. And the only contact you've got, or the only lifeline you've got, is a person on the end of the handheld radio. And you basically have to keep her on side, and you sort of have to solve this mystery or something. It's quite an interesting concept. So the only thing you can do is talk to this one person via the handheld radio, who instructs you where to go and stuff for these fires and whatnot. I instantly thought something like this, you know, good game for an apps Let's Play. He loves a mystery. James, you like games like this as well. Are you interested in a nice little mystery?
I've seen it. It'd be one of those games that could be a nice sort of sit down play on your own for a bit, and much like with apps is Ethan Carter type thing, and it's the open world fire, but it's not one to write home about, I don't think, and it'd be just one of those ones that we probably all, to be honest, most people probably won't even play.
No, I mean, for me it's just going to be one of these sort of, I don't like the suspense and tenseness. I don't like feeling on my own. It bothers me. So obviously I don't have a PS4 anyway, but it's not for me. Okay, the big announcement: Final Fantasy VII HD Remake. Now this is widely accepted as sort of people's favourite of the series. Paul may correct me in a minute, but basically I think as it stands, it sort of was most people's first step into the RPG scene. What we're probably expecting here is a graphic upgrade. It'll be technically enhanced to sort of remove some bugs or certain exploits in the game. Probably an increase in the voice acting, an upgrade in the audio. But I mean, it's pie in the sky date stuff at the minute. Paul, what do you make? I mean, I think you're a fan, as you said before, of the Final Fantasy VII stuff. Could this be one that you'll keep an eye on to get a PS4?
Yeah, it'd be the only reason that I'd buy one, or one of the only reasons. I love Final Fantasy VII. It's probably one of the greatest games I've ever played. But, you know, it's difficult to say on it. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'd love to have it. I would play it, but it's just another remake on it.
Yeah. I mean, release date-wise, I don't know how much you know, but the 20th anniversary of this is in 2017.
Yeah. But
they're even saying that could even come too soon for it. So you're probably looking at another 3 years at the earliest for this game. Has that come too late for it? Do you think it's the sort of game that we should sort of be seeing 2016 or even the end of this year? Should they have done it earlier?
No, I think it's all right that they've left it for a while. They shouldn't have said anything about it now if they're not going to release it till then.
Yeah. I mean, when I see something like this, what instantly comes to my mind is they've seen Microsoft's swathe of announcements and gone, fuck, fucking hell, we haven't got a lot here. Let's be honest. And they've gone, Final Fantasy VII. There you go. We'll give you what you want, but we don't know when it's coming out. That's what it's got a hint of that about it, but yeah, I suppose that's one to keep you sort of eye on in the next 3 years. I'm sure we'll see more in the upcoming E3s, but Piper, would you get something like this? Is this what you bought, a PS4 to play?
I'll probably buy it.
Have you played the original, James?
No.
Right, buy it. Job done.
Job done. All right, that's next.
Uncharted 4, Thief's End. So this is the next one by Naughty Dog, coming in spring 2016.
Very naughty of them, eh?
Naughty.
Naughty, proper naughty.
Deary me. So let's start with Paper. Have you played any of the previous Uncharted?
This is a bit naughty of me, but I haven't.
Right, but you want to play this one?
I have no idea, to be honest. I watched the trailer of it and it just... I've lost it.
You know when you just feel like I think the point is...
What the fuck is wrong with you?
Sorry, it was the naughty references that I thought I wanted to see how many times I could chuck naughty.
James, you're being very naughty.
Oh dear,
yeah,
that's good.
Joke too far there, Logan. Technical difficulties.
What?
Look, this is what happens. Apps has gone 1 week and you pack a cunts. Come out of control.
Oh.
What am I supposed to do with this?
Next.
Content? I think we might have to move on.
I like Naughty Dog stuff. I haven't played any of the others. I looked at it. It
What do you mean you like Naughty Dog
Well,
stuff? I haven't played any
no,
of the
they
others.
they did The Last of Us, didn't they?
No, he means that he likes
played The
Naughty
Last of
Dog, but he
Us.
hasn't played any of the other Uncharted's.
Yeah. It's a perfectly reasonable statement. Stop talking down to me just because
Paul,
I'm
are you
new.
going to get this game? Do you think? Would this be one?
Yeah, that's another one that if I had a PS4, I'd get.
Getting a PS4 then.
I might do.
Good.
Let's move on.
Let's.
Nintendo.
Huzzah.
Huzzah. So, Holland this is. So, we got the announcements of Star Fox Zero, Legend of Zelda, Triforce Heroes, Metroid Prime Federation Force, Animal Crossing, Super Mario Maker,
Sorry, I've got the naughty stuff still running through my head. Sorry, carry on.
right, Hyrule Warriors, Mario and Luigi Paper Jam, and Mario Tennis Ultra Smash. So, let's start.
A lot of good games in there.
Well, this is what I wanted to ask you about. Star Fox Zero. Now, this is coming holiday 2015, so end of this year. This isn't a remake or a true sequel,
No.
but it combines new and old ideas into a unique Star Fox experience. What is this one that interests you for your Wii U?
Yeah, absolutely. I said on the previous podcast, I've been waiting for a Star Fox game. I think it's going to be brilliant. Star Fox on the GameCube was brilliant. Lilac Wars on the N64 was pucker. The old Star Wing was brilliant. Hopefully they do like a combination where they have some levels where you are flying in the Star Wing and some levels where it's ground based, like adventure game. It'd be a good game. They always go well with it, so I'm interested.
I mean, all I saw was sort of you sort of in the ship controlling that, so it's going to be motion controlled and everything. Do you like the motion controls? Will this work for you?
Well, I mean, you can either use them or you can use the old whatever it's called pad. Mm-hmm. So I think it'd be good. Like I say, I'm looking forward to it. I've been saying that I've wanted one for long enough. I just hope that, I mean, they never really fuck them up too badly. Nintendo. It's very rarely you get a big name Nintendo game that doesn't come out with really good reviews. When was the last time you heard anyone say, "Oh, that was a bit of a shit Mario game," or "Oh, that was a bit of a shit Zelda game"? You know, it doesn't happen. So.
I mean, I think for this Nintendo announcement, obviously they're in the process of diversifying where they're putting their next load of business in their games, if you like. So obviously they've got the NX coming up in the next couple of years, I reckon, and obviously they're looking at mobile. So considering they're doing that, we've got a couple of or three announcements for the 3DS. We've got Legend of Zelda Triforce Heroes, Metroid Prime Federation Force, and the Animal Crossing series is coming there. So Legend of Zelda Triforce Heroes is a co-op game. Allows 3 players to cooperate in solving puzzles and beating bosses. This will offer local and online multiplayer. Do you like? You're obviously a massive Zelda fan, Hall. Is this something that you're looking at?
Yeah, I mean,
You've got a 3DS?
Yeah. I've got 3DS, and I've got all the Zelda games, so I don't see why I wouldn't get this. It's just Nintendo have just the only thing that I had to say about the whole of E3 was just that Nintendo seemed to play it very safe. You know, you look at the franchises that are there: Zelda, Star Fox, Mario. You know, they're all big. Yeah. They're all big names. They were never going to Metroid. Yeah. Mario and Luigi. You know, you're never going to They've done everything that people want, which is good because that's what the Nintendo fans do want. So I mean, you can't really blame them for it. Just hope that they do it all as well as we're all kind of hoping for.
Yeah, I mean, as you say, they have played it safe, if you like. But at the end of the day, this is what Nintendo do. It's what they do well, as you know, is giving the fans the established stuff basically that they want. And every now and again they chuck out a new IP, and it's normally successful as well. But yeah, as I say, we've got another Metroid Prime coming. That's sort of to be announced 2016. Again, 4-player co-op missions in the Metroid Prime universe. I mean, there's a lot of co-op going about now, so maybe they're looking at sort of more. I mean, Nintendo you don't really associate with cooperative play or sort of playing online, so maybe they're trying to diversify a bit first into 3DS and then maybe looking at doing that further down the line on their mainstream consoles.
Yeah.
Okay, so one big one for you, Hall, I think, is Super Mario Maker. Now, this obviously allows players to create 2D Mario levels using the gamepad on the Wii U. Do you think this is one that you're going to spend a lot of time on?
Yeah, I'll spend probably a bit of. Well, I'll definitely have a go at it.
Has it come too late?
No, I don't think it's come too late. I don't know how much of it is going to be worth doing. A lot of people have, you know, played like user-made Marios on PC for quite a while. Like we had Super Kowtow Mario, which not a lot of people know about, but it was like a super ultra hard version of Mario. I don't know how much use the Mario Maker is going to come down to. I can't imagine them allowing you to make sort of 3D worlds. It's all going to be 2D, side-scrolling, old-school Mario style. So maybe it's just a little bit too simple. But once again, it's the type of thing that is innovative, and Nintendo are very good at that. So hopefully it'll be another smash.
Yeah. Okay. So Mario and Luigi paper jam. So this is obviously Mario and Luigi in paper. Ironic because we've got paper on the podcast.
Naughty.
Yeah, I mean it's another naughty little joke that I've put in there. Yeah, just for our fans.
Yeah, good one.
I haven't seen much of this game at all, but again, it's a bit kiddie. Maybe is that being unfair, Josh? What do you think?
Well, it's a follow-on from Paper Mario, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah, you're completely right. I mean, it just games like this sometimes I just feel are a bit too. I don't know. I'm just a bit unfussed by stuff like that. When you sort of hear the words Mario, Luigi, you expect something big. Is something like this just a bit?
Well, that's what I know, but completely the opposite. When I hear Mario and Luigi, I don't think big. I think fun, small, enjoyable.
Party games.
Yeah. So
Paper Mario was fucking massive as well. It was so popular. So you know it's like they're just doing different branches of the Mario tree.
Yeah, they've done it. What was the one where Mario Galaxies and
Super Mario Galaxy
and all that stuff? They're just good at just putting Mario in different situations. They do it well.
Yeah.
Get Mario, put him on a planet.
What?
Get Mario, make him up.
But they do it well. They don't just do it like half-assed like Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. He's their selling point. You know, it's in the same way that, like I say, they just stick with their same popular characters and they just use them in different situations.
Yeah. And to be fair, they churn out good games.
Yeah.
So the last one I'll quickly talk about, Mario Tennis Ultra Smash, coming to Wii U this winter. What do you reckon? Any good? Is it going to be?
It's just the same again, isn't it? It's just a tennis game of Mario. They've done it on every single console. Like, we've had Mario Tennis on the last 5 consoles. It's going to happen.
It's just a given. It's like day and night.
Yeah, well, this is exactly what we've just said. They don't release a tennis game because that's not popular. They release a tennis game with Mario in it. Job done. And it sells. Yeah. Because people go, oh, Mario.
Okay. Well, that's Nintendo's relatively low-key effort. I don't think there's anything to shout home about. There's a couple of good titles there. But
disappointed I didn't see more of Zelda for the Wii U, to be honest.
That's what you were hoping for. I think you said a couple of weeks ago that you were looking at a new Zelda game.
Well, it's coming. They just didn't show more of it.
I think they're probably going to bring it out when they talk more about the next.
Yeah, next.
Yeah.
The next.
Tumbleweed.
Okay, yeah. Let's move along. Square Enix, the last one on Tuesday. Now, I don't want to spend too much time on Square Enix one because we've already mentioned some of the titles anyway. But I'm just sort of going to go through and just sort of see if you have seen anything of any of these games that you want to say anything about. So I'm just going to say the title and then either a yes, no, don't care, or whatever.
Naughty.
Yeah, naughty. So the first one, Star Ocean, Integrity and Faithlessness.
No. I'm gonna save you a bit of time here. Why don't you just list them and then we'll just do a collective no at the end.
You say that, but
I'll talk about one if there sounds anything in there that's going to be of any interest. Square Enix have gone off the boil since they've over the last few years. They've been shit, so they're going to have something pretty special to regain my trust.
Yeah. So Rise of the Tomb Raider, Xbox only.
No one cares.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. Final Fantasy VII, obviously.
Don't list games we've spoken about.
Well, I'm just
list games we've not spoken about.
All that Square Enix are good at are Final Fantasy. Job done.
Yeah. Kingdom of Hearts.
No.
Okay, Kingdom Hearts would be alright, actually, to be fair.
This is a complete to be announced. They haven't even put a year on
right,
it.
So that was a waste of... Why have they announced that? There's nothing there.
This is what I mean, though. But when I look at the list, I'm a bit unfussed by it. And this is why they've obviously gone, yep, we're doing it. Apparently they played a highlights reel. Oh, it's just pie in the sky stuff. They've just got a little bit and gone, yeah, there you go. So yeah, that's completely... I have no idea when that's going to be out. Hitman, again.
Spoken about, yeah.
Yeah. Deus Ex, Mankind Divided, TBA 2016. So we've got another sequel to Deus Ex. Are we interested?
No.
Yeah. Project Setsuna. This is TBA, again, 2016. It's an RPG and it's a new IP. So, again, there's very little information on it. They've just said, yep, this is what we've got.
Square Enix, no.
Yeah. Then they've announced World of Final Fantasy. Again, another TBA 2016.
Right, stop doing this world of fucking Final Fantasy. Stop doing this online Final Fantasy dog shit. And just make me a good Final Fantasy game again.
Why do you not want them to do sort of little...
Because they're shit. They just need to make a good game again. Remake 7 and just fucking cut your losses and go, right, we're shit now, thanks. Job done.
This one is a turn-based battle system.
They're all turn-based. They're all turn-based battle systems. But it's going to be shit. Final Fantasy 11 through 15 or whatever on have all been shit. So just stop making them. You're ruining the franchise.
I'm gonna wrap this up.
Thank the Lord.
I'm gonna say thanks to both of you for obviously joining me on this bumper edition.
You're welcome.
Following E3.
Yeah.
A little bit of housekeeping. So feel free to check us out. We're on YouTube. We're putting up content all the time. We are obviously Dimp Digital. Apps is mainly providing a lot of good content at the moment. Feel free to check it out. You can also get in contact with us to tell us how good this podcast is going to be and how good it has been, and how informative we've been. You can tweet us at Dimp Digital. You can find us on Facebook under Dimp Digital again. Right, let's cut this out. This has been too long. It's a bye from Paper.
Ta-ta.
It's a bye from Halt.
It's all right.
It's goodbye from me. For this week only, and I'll see you next time. Ta-da! Right, so say yes or no. Hitman.
No.
I couldn't believe this. When I looked at it, it actually says...
We both said no.
It says fucking open world assassination game.
Why? Open world. Why are they doing this?
Hold on, we've got a fucking call incoming from Max. Should we answer it? Oh no, he's fucked off now. Unbelievable. He even gets in on this podcast and he's not even here. He's not even in the country, as a matter of fact.
He's probably just he's just keeping an eye on you, mate, because this podcast.
He's wondering why this podcast ain't fucking finished yet.
I told you it's going to be a bumper episode.
Yeah.